Hello again, all you lovely people on the internet. It's me, that gaming nerd John, and we are continuing our journey through 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. We are now on our fourth chunk of the first area of the destruction sequences, so this is going to be wave 7 and 8, kind of the penultimate episode for the first area of the destruction sequences. You're going to see, continuing along the line of some of the other, like, I don't want to say filler missions, but kind of filler missions. They're going to be introducing new units, talking about those abilities, giving the player a chance to understand how those abilities work, what counter methods work, how the various generation of Sentinels can not necessarily specialize to counter them, but what abilities they have that are counters to them. Which, like I mentioned before, I really enjoy that. I think that's a really smart way of doing it. Especially having this like first area, which still is easier stages before they really start to up the difficulty in the second area and the third area of the destruction sequence. So just like as with the previous videos, I'll be having more commentary as we run our way through the various waves of this particular section of the game, but let's go ahead and get this Sentinel rolling. So right off the bat, we're going to have something that truly pains me here. Yep, we are resetting all of the pilots. Goodbye, bonus XP. Who needs it? It's more important that we pay attention to bonus objectives, unlike last time. So we're going to have Miura on the strike team. City defense rate, that just means not letting a whole lot of the city get blown to hell. Making sure that it's in a relatively decent state of not getting completely jacked up. So there we go. We'll be learning about the shield Kaiju APSOS. Not a fan of it, and you'll find out why shortly.
That Kaiju just looks like it's got a big fan on it. What even is that thing?
That's an APSOS. More officially, it's an APS feeder.
Oh, that one. They're pretty nasty to fight. They can put up deflective barriers.
Probably easier to say it's like a support Kaiju that can give other Kaiju shields.
It's got shields?
A shield matrix. The 4th gen Sentinels have those as well.
Oh, I get it. Like the one on Amiguchi-kun's Sentinel.
Your own 3rd gen unit should have a weapon that can disable that too.
The EMP stunner. I think that's the one.
That'll stop the D-forces in their tracks with an electromagnetic pulse. The EMP should also deactivate any shields they have up too.
That said, he'd be better off destroying them before they get the shields up at all.
Man, you know it would be super cool if enemies could get shields, am I right? Oh man, that would be the best thing ever. Yeah, I just go full tilt on that guy. I'm like, nope, I hate this dude. So it starts off with them having a couple of the small aerial units there, nothing major. Interesting choice with the Sentry Avenger, I'm not sure, or Guardian Avenger, I'm not sure why I pulled that there, but that's fine. Getting some Interceptor love going on because they are quite good. Also having Takamiya do that, even though she's not exactly specialized for it.
How's the Sentinel?
Yeah, EMP, it works. Takes those guys out.
What's our plan?
So it's really just a matter of anytime you see one of those APSOS units, basically prioritizing them. If you don't, then it's going to just waste other attacks you have, because anytime a unit has shields on it, it's just going to negate so much of your damage. It's really going to hamper your ability to take out any of the enemy forces, the enemy D-forces, because it does effectively mitigate a lot of your damage. It's going to absorb a certain amount of damage, which does scale over, you know, the course of the campaign and whatnot. So, like in this first particular mission, if they were able to pull off the shield, it's not like GG, they're going to destroy the terminal, but it is going to be a hindrance. So it's just being aware of that, prioritizing those guys, getting your units in in position to make sure they can counter them. Having Sekigahara there with his EMP attractor ability was one of the ways I countered it myself. I found, in general, if I needed to counter anti-air units, shield units, my Gen 1s were more effective at it. Each generation does have some EMP capabilities. I know they tried to talk about it for the Gen 3s a long time back, and it was pretty bad. I tried it out one time and I was just very underwhelmed. So there we go, taking those guys out. There was an APSOS unit there and it's already down. Now I'm just like, oh, a Terra carrier. Yeah. And you're gonna see that a lot. They'll introduce like a boss unit, and then it'll become just part of the waves as we go further in. Prime example, like we fought against 4 high quads in the previous wave, back in wave 6. That was, you know, the penultimate enemy of the tutorial fights. Like 1 versus 4, quite different. And they'll continue to up that ante as things go on.
Remember your training.
More chumps incoming. As long as I can keep this thing
No
moving.
room for hesitation. Are we winning?
A couple more of those skills there you can see. Each of the pilots, like sometimes they just won't have any. And there's, you know, different triggering conditions for each of the pilot skills. Some of them are going to be, you know, based on what skill you're using. Some of them are going to be based on your team composition. Some of them are going to be based on even proximity to other characters. So like Sekigahara has the I work alone, so he's getting that buff right now because there aren't any other Sentinel pilots close to him. And then conversely, you know, Takumi doesn't have any of them up right now because none of her conditions to trigger those are there. Amaguchi's got his Playboy one because there are ladies on the team. What do you know? Double sentry gun. It's just bonkers. Just very strong. Good for holding a choke point there. Like that eastern corridor is pretty secure between the interceptors and the 4 sentry guns there. I feel like it's probably locked down. Yeah, so there's another high quad, not a big threat. Kind of debated about the EMP attractor. Not gonna lie, probably just leap attack here. Probably just leap attack here. What am I debating about? Oh wow, Demolisher Blade, huh? Okay, also good. Yeah, takes that out. It's a solid choice. I mean, with all the sentry guns there, it's going to be kind of miraculous if any of those things were even going to survive. Multi-lock missile will probably do a solid job there. Drum Mine's still alive. That's kind of bothersome. Clearly, I don't like him though, so he's going to die.
Termination of enemy signals confirmed. Aegis activated. Terminal closure complete. Surrounding 2-kilometer area now fully secure. Ending tactical analysis.
All units fighting the Kaiju. Can you hear me?
Who's that? How'd you get on this channel?
Wait, here's a girl Miwako was helping.
Chihiro? Is that you, Chihiro?
I'm Chihiro Morimura. What?
That's our teacher's name.
I'm going to evacuate the populace all at once. Readouts say 1.2 million people in Sector 4. They'll all be force shifted to the year 2025, as in Sector 3.
To the year 2025? You're shifting over 1 million people?
So you don't have to worry about any civilian casualties. That's all.
Chihiro, wait a minute. Guess we pushed them back.
Okay, so that rounds that one up. One of the cool things, it's just a little detail that I noticed, like the bonus objective for this was to make sure that the city doesn't get totally train wrecked. And they play into that with the plot of, hey, way to go, Amaguchi, my man, MVP. Yeah, they play into that by having the plot related to evacuating civilians. So, like, I'm sure that wasn't necessarily intentional or, like, ideally how they wanted to convey that. But I liked it. I kind of would see those connections between, like, these various bonus objectives they have and just various things that they talked about in the plot. I was, I guess, hunting for it a little, but at the same time, like, it's cool to see them. We've already got Takamiya on the strike team, so why not send them back in again? What am I doing? Yeah, Minami versus Kisaragi, I could see that. Maybe going for some missile raining justice, as it were. Why would I take Amaguchi off, though? My man. Okay, I don't know what I'm thinking there. Clearly I'm trying to lose. Yeah. Alright, well, wave 8, here we go.
Look! All the people vanished from the city. It looks like the battlefield is totally empty.
She really evacuated 1.2 million people. You did all that, Chihiro?
That's crazy, Chihiro-chan. What did she even do?
The D-forces are coming. But it's like she said. Now we can fight without worrying about collateral damage.
Yikes. There's a ton of those bug guys coming this way.
They're bigger than tanks, but still too small for Sentinels. They'll be pretty hard for us to hit.
Workers, about 8 meters in size. They're general-purpose drones that can handle any terrain. They can also link up with the quadruped units. They form a kind of crane arm.
Alright, so now we get to our horde-style enemy with the workers. Not a super big threat, honestly. It's just, like they mentioned, they can enhance other units. They can hook up with those guys. They're also, like, super small. It makes certain attacks far less effective. You want to focus mainly on a bunch of smaller attacks or interceptors. So, like, Sentry Gun, not super phenomenal, because unless they're all in a line, you're really wasting a lot of that attack power. Same thing with, like, the linear railguns that the Gen 3s have. Probably not as effective. Demolisher Blade, way overkill for those guys. It's one of the few times that, like, Tackle actually is good, though. This, though, illustrates extraordinarily well why Missile Rain is just the absolute stupidest on the planet. Phenomenal move. Like, that's covering, yeah, a solid third of the map there. It's just fantastic. Long-range missiles also pretty solid because you don't have to worry about armor piercing. You're just looking for an area of effect, and that's what those have. So taking out another good chunk of them there. Just kind of waiting for that to drop. Bouncing back and forth here. There we go. Yeah, so the wave finally arrives. Leap attack. Also good, because that's going to hit all of those units there for a decent chunk of damage. Still busting out with sentry guns, though, because, let's be honest here, every damage is good damage. And if they're going on the streets, then creating those corridors with the cannons is actually not bad. It's just not the most efficient. Here we go again. Missile Rain. It's just that good. Boy, what? Okay, yeah, I could see the wisdom. They're a little far away, so the range limitation is kind of going to hinder it. Back in Sekigahara up. Got another wave coming in on the east. Yeah, this one's a lot more about multiple smaller waves than necessarily big dudes. Like, I don't even know if they actually showcase the capacity of the workers to link up with, like, the medium-sized units. I don't think they do in this one. Pretty sure they don't. Pretty sure it's just a huge number of them. This is going to be hilarious, though. Yeah, goodbye. Kaboom. So many meta chips. That probably would have fully charged the meta gauge on its own. Not gonna lie. Yeah, might as well defend. Hilarious how I'm doing that when I'm like, it's terrible. Never defend. It's awful. It actually isn't awful. It's just I hated having to do it on this playthrough. Like later on, I don't encounter much of a problem because levels. Oh, just. Yeah, that took care of it though. I just didn't see it happening. But yeah, that APSOS is gone now. It doesn't have shields anymore. Multi-lock missile is good, but here it's not going to be quite as good because there's just so many targets that I'm not sure it's actually going to take them all out. Yeah, there's like a handful of them left. It's not a tremendous number of them, but it's still some. So multi-lock missile does have its limits. If there's just a gaggle of baddies, it might not work as well. Am I really thinking about using the railgun here? What am I actually thinking here? This seems a little silly. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention to the minimap, because I've done that before. Haha, oops. Yeah, leap attack is just not going to have the range here. Like, there's a group down there, and that is a problem. So why not use flare torpedo? Please tell me. Yes, thank you. Multi-lock missile. I was like, this actually is a good use of multi-lock missile.
I did
We're
it!
sitting ducks here.
Whoa! Now there's a whole swarm of those things!
Damn it! These little punks piss me off.
So yeah, now they're just going to be like, okay, so you had some fun there with them dropping in. Now what if we just had all of them come in from everywhere? What will you do? And I'm pretty sure I think to myself, well, that's what interceptors were for, and hopefully missile rain, because that is quite literally what it was designed for, is tons of small dudes. Okay, a little tactical retreat. Never hurt anybody.
Gotta do something.
And we got incoming from a lot of places here. Missile rain can definitely do some good. But it's just a matter of, like, giving it, like, maybe another 2 seconds.
Don't waste any chances.
Throwing in a high quad. So they do have, like, the twin tails and the high quad show up and drum mines. There are some actual threats that'll come in to put more pressure on the player. But if you've gotten yourself set up and you've spent this time, like, ensuring that you have those defenses in place, like your sentry guns, like keeping up with your interceptors, then you should be fine. It shouldn't really pose a tremendous threat to you. And then now is when we can probably get away with missile rain here, I'm thinking. Yep. Because that's going to cover this quadrant for all intents and purposes. Like, that's locked down officially. Trying to get a solid leap attack in there. Wasn't entirely necessary. Like, missile rain would have handled a lot of those problems. The good news is it's a very quick cooldown, so immediately just being able to jump right back into the thick of it.
Remember your training.
I truly did not like these gentlemen, because that is just hyper rude. Yeah, they're gone. I don't even need to check on that. Yep, they're gone. Do we throw out another missile rain? I might. Man, that's greedy. Because there's like nothing there yet. It's going to start hitting and nothing's even going to be there just yet. Wow. Whew. I got hyper greedy there. Another leap attack, because it's fun. It's just fun.
I won't give up.
So some of that missile rain did come down and hit some of those guys. There's not a whole lot left. This might actually be the last dude.
Termination of enemy signals confirmed. Aegis activated. Terminal closure complete. Surrounding 2-kilometer area now fully secure. Ending technical analysis.
The Aegis activated. The city's definitely taken
days when I ran with my gang. I used to talk about how I wanted to tear this whole city down. Never thought I'd actually end up destroying it in some big robot battle.
But you're still fighting to protect it. There's not much more we can do.
Yeah, who asked you? What the hell would you know about how I feel?
If you're going to lash out at people, could you try not to do it when our lives are at stake?
Who asked you?
Come on, Yuki-chan.
Yeah, Look, I'm sorry. All this shit's just getting to me.
We won.
Alright, so that finishes off Wave 8 there. Pretty simple stuff, just making sure that you've got the ability to handle a lot of small fries. Here we go, Sekigahara, Leap Attack, MVP there. Takamiya actually pretty close behind. It was pretty close there. Combo attack this time, that's one of the reasons Missile Rain is so good, because it's going to just create so many hits, which is solid. Other than that though, just one of the things that you may have noticed here and there is that even the Sentinel pilots that aren't in combat are still contributing. It's one of the reasons why like brain overload isn't good, is because it will result in you having less support options, not just less pilot options. So being aware of what their support abilities are in tandem with what their actual combat abilities are and what their specialties are is kind of interesting. Anytime you're selecting those pilots in combat, keep an eye on that. And that kind of wraps up this particular chunk here. That means that, of course, our next video is going to be our last one for the destruction sequence for a little while before we get back into the remembrance sequences. I hope you enjoyed this little foray so far through the destruction sequences, and don't forget to hit that good old like and subscribe button to help keep you up to date on all this lovely 13 Sentinels content. But for now, we're going to wrap it up, so until next time, as always, take it easy.